If we talk about remote work and management issues, for us in management positions, we think we never had a crisis like that. And probably really this type of crisis, nobody living right now has experience in this crisis. Now that got me thinking about how we can handle it, if you don't have any experience to deal with crisis, how we actually able to work in it and how we can deal with it. So I was like, let me take you a little bit back. We go almost 19 years back and go to 9/11. So I was one of the passengers on 9/11, flying to a conference in Chicago, got stranded in Gander, Newfoundland. On a side note, the best place you can strand it if something like that happens. And in a crisis like that, which was really, really one of the hardest times in my life, because suddenly, when we had the chance to leave the plane, we were taken completely out of control. We couldn't control anything. We were listening to news, we were following rules. Someone else was telling us every day when we have to be where, what to do, most of the time, nothing to do. And we had to rely on other people to cook for us, bring us home to shower, comfort us, and be there for us. And I was completely out of my comfort zone, not able to do anything, having 24 hours on my hand, doing nothing. Never know when I can go home, how I can call, and you have to think about 2001. So no smartphones, no really fast internet. A lot of people in Gander have to share, like we talk about the population of Gander was more than doubled, had to share the phone and the internet. And to get me occupied and to be able to do something out, I came up with the idea, and you read it probably in the blog, to build a website. And to get a website online and just say thank you. Just a normal guest book, 2001, easy to do, completely remote done with friends in Germany, and get it up while I was still in Gander. 2 days after it happened, the website was up and running. So that was my first experience with really working remote and being completely out of my comfort zone, out of control. Then later on, I was able to come home. Business took up. I was not back in my normal job. Then the .com bubble came in 2003. The corporation I was in the management was insolvent. So I lost my job. From one day to the other, the .com bubble just exploded and I was jobless. So again, what's going on? And being in management in a .com corporation where most of them just gone and vanished, you don't find a job. Everybody's looking for a job. So at this time I said, hey, then I build my own corporation. I have an idea, I know what to make better, and I started my own stuff. Use the time and the money I get for unemployment to actually do my own business. This took up, was nice. Out of the .com bubble, we were able to build a nice corporation, self-funded, everything took up. 2007, 2008 came, the next crisis. Hit Germany in 2009, and suddenly 50% revenue cut. One day or the other, everything just cuts down. All your clients can't pay, don't take the next project you have invested already. So next crisis coming up. Again, totally out of control. We couldn't see it coming. It just happened and we had this big crisis. So again, finding a way out of it. My idea was, hey, automotive, they put a lot of money into automotive to stabilize Germany and everything. Good way to focus on. So I focused on automotive. That went really well until the diesel crisis came, 2015. Again, something you couldn't imagine that this comes out and has this big impact. Yeah? And we had revenue cuts and budget cuts up to 80%, which we have to cope with. So by looking at this, you see that there is a crisis are there. They happen and they seem to come back. So there seems to be a pattern that every 7 years, 8 years, crises are coming back. And in my experience, by looking at it now, I had this experience of crisis. I was taken out of control. Something happened where the economy went down, and it's just not everything at the same time. Right now, we experience everything at the same time. So we have be out of control. Someone else tells us what to do, when to do it, how to do it. We open the news in the morning. We see, like, is there any news, any new rules we have to follow? When will it pick up again? What does it pick up? And of course, revenue cuts. Do we have to lay off people? All those things, but everything at one time. Now, how to get this together with the experience I had before and the experience most of us maybe had in some way. Because I'm a sport coach too, I like to use an example of sport. Think about you want to go to the Ironman in Hawaii. So you train for a triathlon. If you do so, you don't do any training, like you don't swim every day, you don't run and you cycle every day. And of course, you don't do the full marathon every day while you're training. You do bits and parts. Small thing, this day, swimming, running, cycling, not always a full distance. Then you have some half marathons. You maybe make 2, 3 a year half marathon. And then you go. When it's time to go to the Ironman to Hawaii, then you put it all together. There's one day in this year, you put all your experience, all your training, everything you have done together to cope on this day and to finish it. And that's actually how we have to look at it. From a management perspective, if all those things happening now, we have to put our experience together and take each challenge on the day. Each challenge, when it comes, we take one challenge after the other. And then if there's a time to grow again, to go out again, and everything will open, we put everything we have together and we will survive it. And that's how I like to see it and how to reflect the experience we have somehow. Now, let's start into the presentation. The last webinar was already about technology. So if we look at this slide, remote working issues, we can divide it into 4 parts. It's technology, management, productivity, and communication. Technology, we had already discussed on the last webinar. Today, we are talking about management. And right now, in a crisis like this, and everybody being completely remote, management is much, much more important than the normal remote work we were used to. And why management is so important? Because there's, I call it the devil circle of remote management. We, out of a management position, if we are taken out of control and we have this feeling we are losing control, we can't manage everything because someone else tells us what to do and we have to wait all the time what's coming next, it's this feeling of losing control. Now, the way how we work with this one, if we do it the wrong way, it keeps on cycling around and around and gets worse and worse, and we are losing more and more control. So the most important part is how to cope with the feeling of losing control and to stop this cycle. If you think about losing control, you have to ask yourself, why is this feeling there? Why is this feeling so hard? And for me, being in Newfoundland and Ghana, being taken completely out of control, I'm hyperactive, I'm used to control everything. I'm used to get things done, to go out and do things. Suddenly, I can't. I just sit there. So my brain gets nuts. What's next? What I can do? I can't do anything. So if I can't control the situation, for me, being a person doing things all the time, that's the worst thing can happen. That takes me out of my comfort zone. So if I'm not anymore in my comfort zone, I get stressed. And I have a picture of my life. That's my picture. That's why I be in management. That's why I'm be running my own show, my own corporation. I have a picture of my life, how I want to have my life built up. That's gone. The picture doesn't fit anymore. And I don't know when it will go there and if I even can go there again. And being in management, you carry your team. That's your job. You're in management, so you are responsible for your team, for your people. But it gets hard and harder to carry everyone, especially in times like this, and it could be too much for you. So those are the questions you have to ask yourself. And currently, if we don't have any timeline, it's hard to put actually a star up there and look at the star. So like, that's my star, that's a star on the horizon I'm working towards. I can't set it because I don't know when and where I do it. So those are questions, there are probably much more, which gives you the feeling you're losing completely control. So you have to ask what is the most important part for you. On the other hand, we have this thing, going remote changes suddenly how your team is acting, how everybody is working. So you have the feeling of losing control because you have no idea really what your team is doing and how the processes have changed. What I noticed is, for example, less questions get asked. Normally, if you're in the office, you see people ask each other, they sit together, they work on suddenly, they meet and just get something done. That's completely gone. You don't know if they meet, if they talk, and if they ask themselves questions to help each other. So the request for help gets harder too. Normally, and that's the story I always tell, if I get up and have to go get a coffee or something, suddenly questions coming like, you have 5 minutes, you have time for me. I don't go and get a coffee in the office, so nobody asks me any questions, nobody calls. So even mentoring, sitting in the garage, if I get up, I get questions. If I don't get up, I often don't get any questions. It's this, how we human beings are, we don't wanna just go out and ask. We have the feeling, oh, we disturb someone. If we see, oh, he's anyway on break, he takes a coffee, so I can ask now. It's easier for us. That's the way how we think. Now, calling someone out of the blue and ask like, hey, you have 5 minutes for me? Can you help me? I'm struggling a little bit. That gets really, really hard. So all those parts add up so that you don't know what's going on. One big thing I got asked is how you control work hours. I have no idea if my team is really working is 40 hours. And if they do everything they should do in this time, ask yourself, what is a working hour? Is a working hour if you're present in work, or is it an hour you get something done? We talk on the next one about productivity. Next part was how to cope with feeling like, no, sorry. One good thing is what you can do is, and I love to do on remote work, is changing my work rhythm. I'm an early person. I like to be up when the sun rises. And I have the full day and I have the light, and that's I love. But changing this work rhythm can get really frustrated because I can't work with anyone. Nobody gets up at 5, and I can't ask anyone, and I actually can't really get them to get up at this time. So often I didn't get the information I needed at this specific time. Now, that frustrates me, and the frustration adds up to other processes that I really don't like the remote work, that I lose again control and don't know what's going on. So I have to work against this one. Question is, what helped me personally to do it and to get all through those things? I'm lucky because when I was studying, I made my money to study as a VIP driver for BMW. VIP driver means you drive cars with very important person, even protected people, and you get trained for that. And the most important training was always look for your escape way, always look for a solution, never focus on the problem. Because if you didn't notice the problem, you're anyway done. So you notice the problem, you can focus now on a solution, on an escape way. That was the most important part of the training. Of course, the technique how to do it, but the focus you set if you see a problem. And that through my whole career helped me that I'm not problem-oriented, I'm solution-oriented. And I don't have problems, I only have challenges. And by the way, I love challenges. So that helps me to focus on solutions and keeps me motivated. Now, the next big part is the confidence you have. In management, we have to put the confidence out for our team. We have to show them that we believe that it will get better. If we don't do it in a management part, how should our team follow us? How we can motivate them to actually do exactly the same thing and not be frustrated, not have always fear. So we have to put the confidence into the system. That's again, we didn't do all those sets as big crises, but we had small ones. And we learned in small crises, now we put everything together and we can handle it. So we have the confidence to finish the Ironman. And that's what we have to put into the system. If you ask me for a specific solution, but I changed my work rhythm, I learned don't send an email, for example, at 4 a.m. Even if I'm up, if I've got my stuff done and sending out the stuff really early to have my free time from 9 to 12 to do something else, that's the fun stuff and the good thing on remote working, that I can change my work rhythm. But you have to accept and appreciate or respect the work rhythm of everybody else too. So sending out an email at 4 a.m. creates stress on the other side. Because say things like, oh, so early. Why he's so early up again? Why he's doing it now? And I didn't have my coffee and just my inbox is full of requests already. And I didn't start my day. So that just puts a lot of stress into the system. You can prepare everything and send it out when your team is ready to actually act on it. And make sure you set your expectations really clearly, what you expect them to react in which time. And you have to discuss this expectation so that they can agree on it and react on it. That takes stress off, and it takes stress off you because you focus now, you set up your day. And they're like, okay, I'm working now at this time, I'm doing the stuff I can do alone. At a specific time when my team is available, I do the work I need to do together with my team. So good thing is remote working, a lot of thinking I can do while I walk the dog. I can prepare my day. So if I get up early, I go with the dog, and I can prepare my whole day in my mind. Just come back and put it into my timetable. So that's working time for me, going with the dog, because I'm productive. I'm with me, I'm with myself, and I can structure my day. But I'm outside, I'm enjoying it. So that's something positive we can put onto it. If we start on a call, I'm fresh, I'm motivated, and have a different body language while I'm doing it, which helps my team again. Most important part, accept the new rhythm of your team too. Next point was getting a feeling what is going on inside the company. And in those specific times while we don't have really this narrow feeling being in the office, especially if it's a big office space where everybody sits together, if we go in, we have a feeling how everybody is doing today, how everybody feels, how they work together. Somehow we have this vibration, what's going on. And that helps because you can intervene, you can actually act if you see something goes wrong, and this is gone. We have those meetings, those video calls, but it's a different body language we're having. It's the way where we sit, we get distracted with the background. Often we don't have a video on, some people have a video on. So it gets really hard to figure out what's really going on. And most important part to understand what's going on, you have to figure out which person is the glue, keeping everything together. So which is a trusted person people like to talk to, people ask questions, people go on a social call besides them and they're like, after meeting, can I call you? You have 5 minutes for me. So who is the person who keeps everything together? And that might be now different people and persons like it was before. Because this situation, some like it, some dislike it. So for some, it's really not too bad to be remote. And they shine, they get up and be more productive. They feel better because they can work in their rhythms, they have the kids, or they like to be on their own, do their own rhythm. So they suddenly shine. So you will have people surprising you, which you never thought about, that, hey, wow, this person is really productive now. I never saw that he can pull this off or she can pull this off. And you have some, they're like, what's going on? No, she was so good. So that's, if you want to get this feeling, look really on meetings, on calls, you have to look at the side notes, what's really happening. And if you see a little bit, someone feels not so good, or if they smile less, if they're not taking care of themselves anymore, these are small things you suddenly notice, you have to pay attention to it. And by paying attention to those small things, you will figure out who is the glue to keep everything together. And with this, talking to those person, you understand what is going on. But you have to be really, really open-minded for that and look at the small details.
Norbert?
Yeah.
How do you personally handle your mental shift in the chaos?
Being totally taken out of control. I'm an optimist. From my deep, deep soul, I'm an optimist. And I'm a really, I don't know, a really strong optimist. So I'm in everything, I see something good. So by looking at it now, I think about environment. Everything we saved in this chaos, which would be good for the environment. Less carbon footprint, less, like everything was good for the environment. So I'm always looking at something which is good and which helps me in this chaos to say, like, in the end, something is good on it. So looking back to losing the job, suddenly having no job anymore, but getting the unemployment money, I could do what I wanted to do always. So be independent. So let's paint a different, if one door closes or there's chaos, there's another door opening and there's light on the other side. You just have to go through. I know it's, with all this not knowing what's going on, it's very hard to be optimistic. So maybe I'm lucky to be an optimist, but you really have to write down. If you don't see any good things, sit down, write down what could be good things. And there are some tricks. We can talk later on, or just come back how you can actually do those things, that you work on yourself to find out what is good, what is positive. But you have to write down positive stuff. If you can't just feel it, write it down. What is positive? Make your own paper.
Awesome, thank you.
Okay, motivating team. Big part. To start motivating your team, you actually have to find out where you are. No, where are you right now? What did you do before? How did you motivate your team? I'm German, so not shouting at the team, not complaining, it's motivation enough. Yeah, that's the German way. Yeah, we are really, really strict. So if I don't complain, that's enough positive feedback. So you should be motivated. Doesn't really work this way. So you have to give transparency. If you haven't been transparent before, you probably should be more transparent now. Do you understand how your team actually works? What is their needs? What is their fears? Find out the position where you are and find out who's loyal to you. And that gets really, really hard because we always have to remember that very often not the loudest ones are the loyalest one. So it's the one who really, really trust you, but have fear. Maybe they are shy and they don't come out and they're like, that's my fear, that's my problem. So you have to be sensitive to looking to everybody's need and to see who is really loyal. You can't, if you have, anyway, which we discussed already early, is that like you can't carry everyone. You have to focus on whom you're carrying if you can't carry everyone. You can motivate only if you look at yourself too. If you're not confident, if you're not positive, if you don't see the star on the horizon, it gets really, really hard to motivate and it's not authentic. So you have to find your positive energy. You have to find what keeps you going. Then you can start motivating. If you say like, I can't do it anymore, that's a really, really hard part to then start motivating your team. The biggest questions you can ask, what actually brings your team to work? Why they go besides the paycheck? If that is the only motivation, we have to talk about different issues. But what brings your team to go to work, to put the effort in, and go in this crisis the extra mile, the extra hour to put more effort in that they were putting in before? What is it? If you can figure out this, you can motivate better on those things. But you have to understand what brings them there. If it's only the paycheck, we have anyway a problem. Now, if you want to start motivating, get your answers first. And right now, the biggest part we have to work on, and that's what we do on a daily basis now, is reducing fear, giving hope, working on small things to say like, it will change, it will come back. And out of every crisis, there was coming better things afterwards. The world has changed to a better place. So we always have to think about the positive part and look at the star on the horizon. So by reducing fear, we can go this direction. You have to show understanding. But you have to be authentic on showing understanding. If you don't really understand the fear, don't pretend to understand. You have to be authentic, because only if you're authentic, people will believe you. You have to start discussing more the solutions and discuss the decisions you're doing. Because if you're transparent and if you discuss the decisions, you get them a feeling to understand what's going on with you in management, all the problems you have to deal with. They don't have to carry them. You are carrying them, but they have to understand that this leads to those decisions which might be hard to actually go on and have a chance to rise again and to start over again. So that's the most important part. Be open, discuss it, and don't fear that you open too much of your personal decision making. Include your team. Maybe they have solutions for it. Maybe they come. And in my experience, when we went through those crises and I openly discussed it with my team, I was really surprised what they offered, what ideas they come, what solutions they brought to just keep it going, and gives them the chance to surprise you. Then one biggest thing on motivation is act fast if you see something. And it's a little thing. You're on a video call and some person doesn't smile, which normally always smiles. And you see in the face, they're really worried, they're stressed out. Don't address it right now in the meeting because it's personal. Give them a call afterwards and ask, is everything going right? Give them time. Shows that you really care and that you notice that something is wrong and they don't feel good. If you open yourself to look at those small things, that's very often everything you have to do. Just give them a little bit of attention so that you understand it, and share your own problems. Micromanagement. One big thing happening right now in the crisis, if we are losing control, managers tend to make micromanagement. And it's at no time, in my personal opinion, a good idea. But right now, if you start losing control, most people tend to more micromanagement. The only thing it does, it adds stress. It maybe gives you the feeling, hey, I'm better in control, at least I'm doing something against it, but it only increases stress, workload, and frustration on your people, on your team. And if you lost control, if you truly lost control, micromanagement won't give it back to you. So in no case, micromanagement, in my opinion, is a good idea. It only serves the micromanager. But in crises like that, it's even worse. So one example is like, if something works right now, and reporting system is only one example, something worked before and still is working, don't change it. Even if you think like, I have time, I always wanted to change it. Change management right now, you have to be really, really sure what you're doing, and if it goes to the better place, or is it micromanagement and just adding stress because you think I have to keep everybody occupied because they have to make their hours. Hand over responsibility. Instead of micromanagement, hand over responsibility. Let them surprise you. But there's one big thing to understand. Responsibility can't actually be handed over. So it's a wrong expression. It's like hand over responsibility. You only can offer responsibility. And the responsibility has to be taken. So if I offer to you responsibility and you take it, we both agree on it and it will work. If I just give it and say, like, it's you in charge now, but it's too much for you. You don't think you can handle it. You're stressed anyway, and it adds up to you, and it just doesn't bring any result. It just brings more fear, more frustration, because also have the feeling to let someone else down is a lot of stress and adds up to the system, which ends to be a negative system. So offer responsibility and let it be taken. My last one, time management. Time management comes with a lot of expectation. As we said before, if I have a different work rhythm, I can't expect everybody to do exactly the same. But in general, time management, and especially in remote working, needs to be addressed really, really good. So I have 3 pillars on time management. That means set the goal, agree on the goal, and work towards the goal. That means if we want to do something and achieve something, we first have to set the goal. And we have to allocate the time to it and the resources to it, what we think, when and how we can do it. But we also, all of us working on it, have to agree on the goal. If you don't agree on a goal I set, we will never reach it because we have already a disagreement. So it will be just done because, yeah, the boss told me to do it, but I think it's a dumb idea. So it won't be really, really done with all the passion and in time. And very often we're in denial, so we move it as far as possible, and suddenly it adds stress because now we have to finish it because we were in denial to start the job. If we don't agree on the goal, if the goal is too much, if it's too high, if it's not reachable, or if it's too low, both brings up frustration. Now, if you give me goals and I'm like, that's a kid's job, why I get this one, why I always get the small jobs and not the challenging one. So both direction is not good. So if you set the goal, see that you always have a challenging goal and everybody agrees on the goal. If you have an agreement on the goal, you can work towards the goal. Means working together, have split up tasks on which you're working, and have set certain times when you go back and you reflect everything and maybe adapt the changes to it. Meeting culture. KISS is the best way how to do meetings. Keep it short and structured. That's the most important rule about meeting culture. Now, if you ask me how you do it, we have 6 VWs. So, what for, when, with whom, which, where. What for? Again, if everybody knows why and what for we have this meeting, with this understanding, it's much, much easier to get everybody motivated in the team, to get everybody to be ready, to be prepared. If you don't know why we have again a meeting, it just eats up your time. It just is for nothing. And you have this feeling like, I could have done a better job. I could have done all the work I have piled up. So now I have to attend a meeting again. If you understand what for it is and the importance of it, it's easier to attend meetings. Same goes with time. There are certain times different meetings don't make sense. So imagine after lunch, then you have a really, really important meeting where you have to be hyper-focused, be in it, but you're already tired. You just had lunch. So it's hard at this time to actually really, really be focused and follow the meeting and attend. Or you have to address difficult decisions and you do it at 5 p.m. where everybody actually is already finished. So I think it's a good idea to do it at 5 p.m. because then they can think overnight about a solution. Maybe not the best idea. So addressing difficult decisions should be early in the morning when everybody's fresh and has the capacity to work with it and can work through the day, and don't give it to them overnight where they can't relax and calm down. That's why we have 6, is with whom. Really, really important. That's why it's with and whom twice in it. Only invite people you need. Other ones, you can select, we have this meeting, inform the team, keeps them updated. There is this meeting, and if someone wants to join, and it's free for them to join, it's good, but don't make everybody she has to attend. It's a must. If you don't really need them in the meeting, don't make it a must to attend, because it just eats up a lot of time. And especially now with remote working, that's easier if you're all in the same office. You have this meeting, it's like, I don't need to be in there. It's like, yeah, you can tell me later. Right now, sending an invite out, everybody has to sign up. You don't know exactly what for it is, so you have to show up, and it just eats up time, and you're polite, you have to stay in the meeting. You notice it if people then suddenly get distracted and just stay in the meeting but do something else. Then there's no reason for them to be in the meeting. Important too, although which tools you're using. Yes, video calling, of course, but there are also other tools. You can make a normal call. Sometimes you don't need always video calls for meetings. If it's like a small group, 2-3 people, you can just make a call. See which systems you're using for what meeting. Because video calls adds to the point, where are you? You always have to prepare yourself. You want to be respectful. So giving always insight, especially in remote working, where you're sitting, people look into your living room, people look into your kitchen or your home office. People running around, roommates running through the time is where they actually wanted to cook. So there's a lot of interference between it. If you have not a call with a video calling system, just a normal call with 3 people, 4 people in a normal call, you can discuss a lot of things like that. You don't always need a video call. And the where are you is really, really important, because you show respect to someone. If you're prepared in the meeting, or you almost be in your bedroom, just woke up and the light is still off and the webcam points downwards to the floor. I don't know, doesn't show a really lot of respect for joining a meeting and being prepared for the meeting. It's like, oh, I just showed up because I'm invited. So this doesn't really be on purpose, but it does something in our, because we're human beings, we notice those things and it does something and it reflects on us. And this we always have to be aware of. Data handling. So I like this guy. I'm a physics engineer by training. So of course, I like Albert Einstein. And I changed a little bit this nice formula. And it's about data handling should be efficient. Efficient it is if it's minimized, clear, and consistent. Right now, we get so many emails, a lot of stuff we have discussed on a coffee before, we get now an email. Everybody sends us, hey, there's something nice, some nice information, look at it. I get a one line or a subject there's like interesting link and just a link into it and I have no idea what it's about. So it keeps on piling up on my inbox. It adds work to me. It gives me a lot of data coming in. I have no clue what it's about. So I have to research it. I have to open it. And I'm losing a lot of time. This was done before at a coffee. I get a coffee, someone tells, hey, I found this interesting link. It's about this and this subject. And if I'm interested, it's like, forward me the link. If I'm not interested, like, yeah, I heard about it, not interested. So I don't need the link. Right now, everybody just gets spammed out. Nice link, checks this out, could be interesting. I saw this one. What do you think about this one? All those mass of emails coming in, data put in, everything gets downloaded, stored somewhere on it because we could use it later, because we didn't have the time to discuss it. So the data doesn't get, it's too much. It's not minimized, it's too much, and it's not clear what it's about. I got asked, like, how you do it, for example, with all your files. So on communication, last part, we were working on how to structure email correctly, how to communicate correctly. But here now on data handling, a simple example. If you structure your folders correctly, and then you make the naming convention means you put into it what it's about. For example, here there's webinar 2. It's a version 2, last edited by me. So in the name of the document and the folder structure, you see everything. You don't have to discuss it. It's clear what it means. By working on the right folders and naming the documents correctly, I can save a lot of chat, a lot of communication, a lot of email text around it. By using a folder called to do, and if we are working together in a team, and I see suddenly something appears in to do and it has a nice name on it, I know that I can take it on. So we save all this email communication and all those work around it because I know it's in to do. So I guess I should do something. That really, really cuts down all this mass of data we are getting right now. By looking at it, we went through to the circle, and if we handle the things correctly and work on them, we can actually break this devil cycle and be more productive, having a better remote work, and also getting control back. In management, we can say like, yeah, I got the control, I know what's going on, and have a motivated team. So to do it, be solution-oriented, look for the rising star, build a comfort zone that your team is really, really feeling safe and feeling taken care of, offer responsibility, set the goals correctly, on meeting, kiss it, and with your data, be efficient. So you have small words you can work on, and that helps you to remember. So we are open for questions now.
So while everyone is writing their questions, I've put I can show my video. I've put a link to part 1 in case you want to go back and refer to it, and a link to the next webinar, part 3. I'd like to thank our partners on this, Acada, Planet Hatch, and Startup Zone. It's been great working with you. I believe some of you are on the call with us today. So yeah, feel free to write in the chat box any questions you have, and I can ask them to Norbert. Do you have any advice about cutting through the chaos to see a different picture and potentially pivoting your business?
Currently, if we look at this chaos, what it gives us is a lot of time for ourselves while we're waiting what's going on. And I like this expression. Some people will keep on saying like, hey, don't work for your business, work on your business right now. So right now you have a good time to work on it, to get structure in it, to have a plan when it's going further. But you have to really look at it, what you are adding to your team of it, what you're asking. So there's some good things you can change. You can do works you never have done. So I know from one shop, they were not allowed to open because not essential. But one thing was they had to clear out, say declutter, get rid of it, reorganizing everything to make the shop much, much more attractive later on for reopening. So they invested all the time to actually do it, paint it, all those things you never could do because you always have open, you always have customers. So they used the time to actually change it for the time after, to make it more attractive, to declutter, to be already knowing, we all know that it won't be the same like it was before. So by decluttering, you had the space to actually open the shop again. So things where you can get it. And if you start working, you limited your chaos you have in your mind by what's going on, what's next. So you get yourself a little bit of a structure. I personally like to structure myself, that I go to work, so that I'm prepared to really go to work. And now it's my time, I'm working, and that's my time off. Because the most part we notice right now is that we have the feeling like it never ends. The day is passed by. Did I do anything, or what day is it? Is it like weekend or not weekend? So you have to structure yourself a little bit and make sure that you go to work and come home from work.
If you are not the leader, how can you address these strategies with your boss to help them lead their teams?
Addressing your boss is a difficult thing. If you don't have a trust relationship with your boss, and you couldn't address it under normal circumstances because this trust relation is not there, you already have a problem. Now, by finding out in your team who has like some kind of line understanding to the boss, who could talk to him, talk to this person. Yeah. If you think like you can trust it, yeah. If it's we call it out of Germany, it would be a cycling person, you know, kick down and be nice upwards. It doesn't really help. So you have to trust this person if you can address your issues. Find out if there are really more people having the same issue, or if it's you. If it's you personally, you have to find the right moment and just like call, can I have 5 minutes? And you have to structure your problems really, really good. So make a structure. What is exactly your problem? What is the output? I can't make my work. I'm not productive. I'm actually scared of losing my job. So make what is the outcome and why it's important to change it for the good of the corporation. So you have to structure. If you just go and say like, I don't feel well and I can't address it really right now, it's more a social call. Structure yourself in the beginning if you address it. But there's no way at one point you have just to say like, you have 5 minutes for me.
Awesome. The next question is, really enjoyed your piece about meeting culture. Curious as to know how you resist the urge to have team meetings every morning just to keep an eye on what's happening.
I'm personally not a fan of everyday team meeting. Having an everyday team meeting could be kind of a coffee call, I would call it. Like normally, if we go to work, we have a morning coffee, we talk about what's happening yesterday, what did you do in the evening, what is your plan for the evening, for weekend. It's a coffee chat. If it's a call like that, where you don't have to be in it, and you just have your coffee call, you don't talk about work. It's a social call. Team meetings where it goes about work, goes on, have an agenda, and Monday morning, nothing really happened. It's just the Friday afternoon happened. So Tuesday, Thursday are good days for team meetings because you still can do something on Friday and you have done something on Monday. Also, depending on the time, like, is it really always in the morning? Is it that like, hey, I want to control that everybody shows up for work? That is the feeling you get if it's every morning. Are you really coming to work? If I make a call, I have the impression at least you're working. And if you're already in your fishing suit, I know you go for hiking or fishing or something like that just to be on the call. It's the idea what you get out of it. Not every morning, not always a good idea.
Great. I think that's perfect place to end this webinar. Thank you everyone for joining us. We hope to see you at part 3. If you missed part 1, you can go have a look at it. It's about tools, technology, and solutions for remote work. And we hope you have a wonderful day. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.